So there's no doubt that reissuing hard to find, high demand figures is a good thing, offering up some of the better figures for collectors, new collectors, collectors that pass on them the first time, to get them at a retail price is a win-win. It's a win for the company because it costs them very little to just do another production run as opposed to coming out with a new figure, and a win for collectors because they get it at the retail price. But today I'm going to talk to you about the issues of reissuing, the issues with reissuing these figures. I also have some predictions of what I think is going to get reissued. I'm going to share all of this coming up. So there's a lot of collectors out there that missed out on the first initial wave, the first run of a figure. And I remember back with X-Transbot's Arcos that a $60 to $70 figure, I think it was $60 at the time when it released, once it sold out, started selling for $150 to $200. So when it got reissued, I was super excited to get my hands on one for a decent retail price, as opposed to paying hyper-inflated secondary market prices. Same thing with this Make Toys downbeat. Even Make Toys is getting in on this reissue bandwagon. And of course, they have a lot of stuff people want to see reissued. And speaking of issues, I have no idea why they haven't reissued all of their Seekers and gotten their cone heads out yet. But does Takara's new Seeker have anything to do with that? I would think they'd want to get these out before Takara got theirs out. Get their reissue, make their money. That would make a lot of sense. So with the obvious benefit of the people that missed out getting an opportunity with these reissues, I'm going to talk about some of these real issues with reissues. Now, yes, I've made a video talking about that, and there's a lot more to it nowadays. There's more going on with this. Starting with Cup. They just reissued Cup, and the original price was something around $85, $90 for the first run. I paid $88 for mine for the first run. This one is $130. So you're talking $35 to $50 increase depending on where you're buying it. That is a large increase. Nearly 50% more than the first time it came out. And that is a huge increase for the exact same figure. Now, I would say it's the same situation with X-Transbot Scourge, but the difference with X-Transbot Scourge is this has a much different paint job, so there's more paint. I'm sure that adds cost to it, and this figure itself is going to cost probably about $20 to $30 more than it originally cost without the extra shiny paint job. But it still does cost more. So just like X-Transbot's Aegis and that reissue brought you a different color scheme. So it wasn't the exact same thing. It came out a little bit different. Now, it didn't have a whole lot of extra paint on it. It really didn't have any more paint on it. It just had a different color scheme, from the silver to the white, more tune accurate, and the blue windows. So it was actually different, not just a straight one-to-one reissue. And the price on that was about similar. Now, a lot of the reason for the price increase is the shipping and what's going on globally and all that stuff. So understand, yes, the prices are going up. Will they go back down? Probably not. We probably won't see the older retail prices ever again until some of these hit a sale. But they don't hit sales when the pre-sales, the pre-orders sell out. We just witnessed that Fans Toys is reissuing their FT16M. And so that's yet another situation where the price is about $50 more than the last time they released the FT16M. And there's more issues with that. But I have a theory that Fans Toys creates false scarcity by only putting out so many figures, and they have more held back. That's what I'm thinking. And here is why I think that. So one of my theories is supported here. The new Fans Toys FT22 Coot reissue has the exact same packaging, and from what I've seen from everybody else that has gotten this, it is exactly the same as the first run, making me think that they just had extras of these stashed away, and now they're just it's the right time, it's good timing, let's go ahead and put this figure out. That would explain why this reissue was in such small numbers that it sold out almost instantly. And it also explains the packaging's exactly the same. And it also explains how from the moment they announced it till they arrived at the third-party distributor was less than 3 weeks. Now, I don't know of any other figure that they do that with. Like every other figure, we're waiting months, if not years, for. And to get something like this, a reissue, tells me they already had them made, just chilling in a warehouse. So what other figures, what other characters do they have chilling in a warehouse? Or am I completely wrong? Which brings us back to the Sovereign M, the Sovereign reissue. We'll see how quick this thing shows up, but they went up for pre-order and sold out, I don't know, in the morning. Before I even knew they were put up, they were sold out everywhere. Now, I wasn't after it myself, but I just kind of curious, how would the average person get their hands on this when they sell out so fast? So, very few numbers, and this thing is going to be showing up probably in a couple of weeks. And that is more fact that they've already got these made. I don't see that they're actually doing another run. They're just putting some more out they've held back. Now, I might be wrong, and that's my theory. Let's move on. So, the next thing about Fans Toys, and it's one of these things that they say, these are limited editions. These are limited runs. They're going to do one run of them. I don't know. I think on the FT10X, they even put out they're only going to make 1,000 of them or something like that. Or however many they were making. I didn't even remember. But it's not a big deal if they reissue a figure. But if they say it's limited, then they shouldn't be reissuing it. They shouldn't put the figure back out. It bothers me that a company, as much as we love Fans Toys, would say something's limited and then go, okay, well, we just remade the limited. Again, that's a Hasbro deal. Hasbro does that kind of stuff, not Fans Toys. I don't mind the mold getting put out, but do it a little different. Do something different. Don't take these limited ones and just remake limited ones. Make them a little bit different. And yes, I do like the limited paint schemes better on both of these figures. But it would be cool to see what more they could do, how different they could make it look. That would be awesome. But if they're gonna say it's limited, leave it at that. And then reissue the original one. So my next point is actually a counter argument to everything I've just said. But if they are doing a production run of these reissues, then that would be taking up valuable factory time, which I don't care what anyone says. This is the most valuable factory time because everyone is still playing catch up from the world being shut down. So with all of this, this is valuable factory time. And I know that they're not wasting it. But that's a point. If they were doing reissues, they're wasting it. We could be getting Hunt quicker. We could be getting this Thomas faster. We can get Dune Rider, Raker, whatever. All of this stuff could be getting pushed sooner, faster, if they weren't doing these reissue productions. So, I mean, that's another counterpoint. The next thing I want to talk about is not doing reissues and just making a more upgraded figure. Now, I know Tesla's a figure everybody wants. Tesla's getting, not reissued, a 2.0. The 2.0 treatment. Now, some people don't like the idea of 2.0 treatment, but with a shifting aesthetic that we're seeing, getting to closer to screen accuracy and tune accuracy, it's time for upgrading some old molds. I like that. Instead of a straight reissue that everybody is clamoring for, it really makes a lot more sense to put out a new mold that meets the new aesthetic and is better than the original. You know, Fans Toys knows that some of their older molds need a refresh. And I think that's a big part of why they're not putting out some of these older ones. They're not putting them out again because they're giving them a refresh. Just like their Spindrift, they're giving it another go. Now that's a whole different story. That, in their eyes, was a failure, and they're trying to overcome their failures, or at least that's the way it feels here. But I like the idea, and I support it. I think it's a good idea that if you're gonna bring a new figure out, make it a new figure. Now, two of the other ones I'd like to see Fans Toys do this upgrade to is Spotter and Lupus. And Not that either one of them are that bad. I had Spotter. I don't have Lupus, but I don't see really how you'd improve it. But I would like to see how they improve it. See, that's kind of the difference there. I personally don't see right now how Lupus would be better, but I'd like to see what Fans Toys does to make it better. And of course, Spotter, they're so old. These molds are so old, they could use a refresh. And there is such a high demand for these figures that a refresh version would sell very well. And also, the people that have the originals would feel good that they have something special and unique and own a piece of history. So the next thing, I'm going to make some lofty predictions here when it comes to Fans Toys. And it seems like Fans Toys is the one most people are clamoring for reissues. Of course, we have Make Toys and all of that. X-Transpots has a few good ones in MMC. But I think that Fans Toys will reissue every one of their Dinobots again within time. I'm not thinking it's something that's going to happen this year or next year. We've actually gotten confirmation that we'll get one of them next year. But the reality of it is, I'd like to see them reissue their Dinobots because the price is going through the roof. I don't really see that they need to be improved. They're very simplistic in design, and they get the job done, and they look good. All of them. They all look great. So this would make sense to do a reissue. Now, would they do a standard reissue, a chrome reissue? Would they do the metallic look? There's a lot of different questions on how they reissue them, what paint scheme they get, but I have a feeling they're all going to come in time. I also wouldn't be surprised at all to see Hoodlum, Rouge, and Dracula all get reissues eventually, and probably pretty soon. It almost seems like it's time for those. And here's the funny part. When you saw Coot clearancing out on shelves back in 2017, it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but yeah, back in 2017, well, 2018 brought us Hoodlum, Rouge, and Mindwipe, Dracula. So it seems like those would be logical for their next reissues down the road, right? And lastly, this is 100% speculation on my behalf, but I believe Fans Toys will reissue every single component of their combiners. Why? Because they've already reissued the leaders, and we haven't seen any of the limbs get reissued. We know that's going to happen. Possibly a box set down the road. It only makes sense. They want to make as much money on the mold as much as you want to buy these things. So I could see them get reissued. It only makes sense. I don't have any confirmation on that whatsoever, but it seems highly logical. Let me know what you think about all these reissues that we're seeing left and right. Which ones are you planning on picking up? Which ones make you happy? And which ones do you not care about? Like and subscribe to Hanger out.